Streaming live from the beautiful city of Hollywood, Florida, USA. This is SoFloRadio.com. Z Nation. Z Nation. Where consciousness is queen, love really is the answer. And making a difference is on the menu. Z Nation. Organic beats and inspiring treats. Get your weekly dose of vitamin Z now. This is Z Nation on SoFloRadio.com.
Z Love.
I don't know who turned that microphone. I thought I had taped them up.
Are we good?
We are now. Welcome to our show.
Oh, man.
Don't freak out.
Don't puke all over yourself. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you all for tuning in so we can get tuned in. Man, George, no, this is not George.
It's okay. It's the worst kept secret in the world.
What's your name?
You know, Ivan Bad.
Ivan Bad. I wanna thank George Rodriguez so
Totally
much for this amazing opportunity to have this show. To have a show where I can have all my amazing friends on that are doing really, really inspiring things in the world.
Like that friend there, the super committed Suzanne.
Yes.
I am very super committed to a lot of things.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Thank you for being the first guest on the show. Suzanne Livya Caudell is going to be talking to us today about something she's really passionate about and something that she's creating out in the world. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get more into that. But first, well, I want to share with you all like how this all came about. This is extremely cool. I find the opportunity to have a platform where I can just talk uninterrupted for X amount of minutes is so cool. And I really love getting to know what people are doing who are like doing good things in the world, who are passionate about making a difference and like putting them and spotlighting them, you know, out into the world so that we can help each other. So, well, I'm in a really great headspace today. I may talk a little bit slow. I just came back.
That's allowed.
Okay, good.
Just don't pass out.
I'm usually a little bit quicker than this, but I just came back from a 10-day meditation retreat.
So you're probably very relaxed.
I'm extremely
Very
relaxed.
Relax.
I'm extremely
You don't have to
peaceful.
lose it. You don't have to lose that feeling.
I'm light, you know. I realized when I first went there, I was really heavy. And you don't realize how heavy you are till you go to a silent meditation retreat. And I actually had done this sit a year ago. So this time I went back and I served, which is like volunteering. Mm-hmm. And I made food for like 100 people, cleaned, and I meditated. Wow. And I got into this routine of waking up at 4:30 in the morning, going to sleep before 10 o'clock at night, and meditating at least for 3 hours a day.
Wow, that's a lot of meditating.
Well, it was a lot less than the students do. The participants meditate about 10, 11 hours a day.
Wow.
And they're not allowed to talk or look at each other. And they only get 2 meals. So you eat once at I want to say 6:30 in the morning and once at 11 a.m. And at 5 p.m. you get like a tea fruit break, but it's, you know, not a meal. And my experience of that last year was actually, it was very challenging. Mm-hmm. I went during a very challenging time in my life, and it just turned me inside out. However, when I came out, I did experience a whole new like me. It was like all the anger, all the just the nastiness had just disappeared. And I figured, you know, this time I would go and experience it from another side. So I went and I volunteered at the center. And by the way, this center is the closest one here to South Florida is in Georgia. And I took a train there to Jessup, Georgia. very remote town. And fortunately, they pick you up from there, and they lodge you. There's amazing bunk beds, bathrooms that are shared with roommates, and the food is incredible, really incredible. And then you go on a schedule, for the day where you meditate, and then you eat, and then you meditate, and then you pause, and then you meditate, and you eat, and then you meditate, and you pause, and you meditate, and you pause, and you meditate, and you eat, and you meditate, and you meditate, and you sleep. And wow, life-changing stuff. It's really cool because when I tell people that, they're like, what? I could never do this. I could never sit in silence for 10 days. Well, I think for all of us, yeah, it's quite a change in pace, and it's not what we're used to. I mean, just sitting and eating next to people and not talking to them is a pretty cool experience, to actually just sit and chew.
A lot of pressure off.
A lot of pressure off. Yeah, like all the idle chit chat. And that's the intention of that. It's not like we're trying to suffer, but it's cutting off the outside stuff that distracts us from going within. And it's such a cliche, like the answers are within, but they really are. And I know for me, in my everyday life, I'm a yoga teacher. I do all this cool, groovy stuff. And even with all that, I barely have space to just sit there and think to myself and actually give myself time to go within. And, what do you find within? Well, at first what they do is they teach you to sharpen your mind. And you sharpen your mind by using your sensations. And the easiest one to tap into is your breath. Let's try it right now. If you just sit up for a second, and just close your eyes and breathe. Now, I don't have to remind you to breathe. You're already breathing, right?
Yeah,
So,
not well enough.
Well, just you don't have to force anything. Just notice your breath. Start to observe it. And just that experience in itself starts to shift something in the mind. See, our minds are what I realize, my mind is always going. You know what my biggest addiction is? Being busy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You feel just bad if you're idle, if you're sitting? You feel like, what, you're wasting time?
Well, I definitely feel like there's so much stuff that I want to do. I really enjoy a lot. So I actually don't like to go to sleep. I like to spend every minute doing stuff. However, what I got is when I do that, I avoid being with myself. And sometimes it's tough to be with ourselves because sometimes we're dealing with anger or we're dealing with negative stuff. Sometimes we're happy, sometimes we're not. But to actually acknowledge all of those waves. And by acknowledging them, you get to learn oh, I just had an angry thought. And that's why I went outside a second ago. I went out to meditate because I had some thoughts that brought up a bunch of stuff within me. And before going to the Vipassana meditation, they would just kind of overwhelm me. And my mind would believe them to be true. And what I was taught to do is actually sit, or you could stand, but go within and just observe the sensations that come up. And I felt it. It was in my chest and in my stomach. And just like anything in nature and in this universe, everything arises and it passes. It's like water under a bridge. The same thing goes for our thoughts and our emotions. But most of us are reactive machines. We're just you have a thought, that freaking pa, and you send out a text or, hit a wall or whatever it is.
Or delete someone from Facebook.
or sometimes it could be such a subtle thought too. You can have the thought, oh, I wish that person would pa. And our thoughts are the seed of destruction. And our thoughts are the catalyst for our actions and our words. If you want to know how enlightened you are, listen to how you're speaking and what's coming out of your mouth. It's it's a mirror for what's happening in this head. And what's so cool is like, you know, like if I said, look up there, can you see that sign? Okay, you would say, yeah, I could see that sign. But like, Suze, if you had like bad eyesight and you were going blind, you'd be like, I can't see that sign quite. You know, it's really blurry. And the thing is, we have a sixth sense, and the sixth sense is the mind. And our mind, the same way we can sharpen our eyesight by, you know, eating beta carotene and doing whatever we need to do, we can sharpen the faculty of the mind. And by sharpening the mind, it gives us access to start to use the mind to our benefits instead of having the mind use us. And that's what drives people insane in the membrane. I'm insane, got no brain.
So true.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's like one of those things you just want everybody to do. You know, everybody should just go and do this Vipassana 10-day thing. And, you know, I get it. It's kind of like, it's 10 days out of your life, so it takes something to do it. You just got to want it, you know. But you will definitely discover a new experience of life. And so that was my little adventure, my train ride to Jessup and back. And I actually drove there with a good friend, and then rode the train back. And now I'm back, and man, I'm
Welcome
much
back.
Thank you. I'm walking slower. I'm limiting my use of social media a little bit more than I did. You know what I realize? It's like, okay, I sit and I meditate, and I'm so like into finding equanimity and like managing all the thoughts that go through my mind. And then you go on Facebook, and it's like, it's everybody's thoughts
On
Yeah.
loudspeaker.
everybody's thoughts. And so it's like managing what we're willing to give our attention to, you know, if
Sure.
we're serious about training this wild elephant, you know, this wild tameable mind that we all have. So yeah. So what I would love to do now is I'd love to do a little minute meditation that we can all across the world take a minute and go within. Play that funky music.
I'm doing it.
Play that
I'm way ahead of
funky
you.
spiritual music, why boy?
So wherever you are, whether you're in your car, or you're standing at the grocery store, or you're on your toilet seat,
You can do this there.
you could do it anywhere. You can have your eyes open. I prefer to have my eyes closed and to bring it in. And we're just going to take a minute to befriend, get reacquainted with one of our best friends, our breath. And just like you would a dear friend, just acknowledge the presence of this life source that allows you to exist, to experience, and to be. So this is a prayer I'd like to share. And you can repeat after me in your head or out loud. May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I be free. May I be free from anger, hatred, ill will, animosity. May I be free of jealousy. May all beings everywhere be happy, be free, be peaceful. 1 minute of peace around the world. That energy spreads quick. It's like a virus. Spread it out. Spread the peace.
I feel good.
I feel good.
It's like a little tingling sensation in the brain. Can feel the serotonin being released. What a great space.
Suzanne is my smart, brilliant friend, teacher. You know, Suze, I asked you to be on the first show because A, you're brilliant. You have so much to share. I'm like always blown away with all the stuff that you're an expert in many fields and you really bring it. And I love how much stuff you're committed to and your passion to your commitments. But I have to say, there's a selfish part of me that had you be on the show because, you know, I was nervous about, I've never had a radio show. I didn't know how it would be. First of all, to do the monologue, I'm like, how do I just talk to myself, you know? But to have you here gives me a lot of courage. Who you listen to me as and how I listen to you, like we just empower the heck out of each other. And I wish that for everybody to have that in their lives, to have a Suzanne, to have a really big listener. And, you know, you're my teacher and you're my friend. And I am just so honored to have you on the show today. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So today we're going to be discussing your gut healing challenge and this commitment, this huge commitment you're taking on to eradicate obesity on this planet. So talk to us a little bit about this gut healing challenge. What started it and what is it?
Wow. First of all, I just want to thank you. Like, your self-expression, this is it, girl. Like, oh my God, you are my soul sister. And I just feel the same about you. Like, who you are to me is just my rock, my soul sister. You've got my back. You know, it's like, hey, Suze, you want to come on the radio? I'm like, let's do this, you know, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So yeah, the gut healing challenge. Wow. This just came about like 2 weeks ago. And it was inspired when I went to Disney World for 2 days. A good friend of mine drug me there. And when I say drug me there, I have this conversation about, you know, commercialism and, you know, Walt Disney, he, you know, created this beautiful, you know, magical place and, you know, kids and families go there and it's this space of magic and possibility. And then you're there and there's, you know, 7 out of 10 kids are obese, you know, stuffing their face with, ice cream and cotton candy and, you know, corn dogs and hamburgers and french fries. And that's exactly what it was when I went there. And like literally after the second day, I begged my friend if we could leave because I was feeling like a lot of sadness, a lot of suffering. I was witnessing a lot of suffering, you know, and it's not, you know, just the kids, of course, you know, the parents, you know, and the parents aren't educated and they're not educating their kids. And it's not just the overweightness about it. It's it's kind of the lack of responsibility and all the other stuff that's underneath the weight gain, the emotional traumas, you know. So it's deeper than just, you know, obesity, right? The actual weight gain.
And it's like almost like it connects this like happy childhood place to all this.
Wow. Happy childhood place. That's never ever happened.
Never ever.
Ever, no.
So, you know, those were
There's your disaster, your pre-disaster.
No, those were the spirits. Those were our angels.
This is what happens around me. Light bulbs blow, energy shifts in weird cosmic ways. So it's
Suzanne,
totally not a surprise.
We are surrounded by our guides and our angels, and they just wanted us to. They wanted to interrupt. There was an interruption.
Yeah, they wanted to say hell yeah.
That's awesome. We should sing a song or something. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Wow.
So, you know, like, and then after coming back, you know, from that whole experience, you know, enough is enough. You know, it's like I'm on a mission. And, you know, just even going back further to my childhood, Z, and I've shared this with you, on a personal level. Ever since I was a little girl, I've experienced some kind of health challenge. When I was little, I had, herpes cold sores. I would get 3-5 blisters at a time. There was one time I had like a mustache full of them. And the doctor said, we don't know whether to prescribe, a cold sore medication, a herpes medication, or an antifungal treatment. That always stuck with me. And I never put 2 and 2 together until obviously fast forward until I started researching more about that. And I'll touch base on that. And then I had knots on my neck. The doctors couldn't figure out. I had shingles when I was 12 years old. They say typically shingles
that's
don't.
old people's thing.
12 years old. What's up with that, right? And then, of course, when I was, in my teens, I had, HPV. I was able to fight that off and reverse the symptoms of that. And so it just was like, one thing after another. And I say this all, vulnerably and just fully self-expressed because there's so many people dealing with health challenges, not just weight issues. That is a huge issue right now, but there's so many things that transpire from what I'm going to get into, which is gut issues. Weight gain is for sure a huge issue that comes when your gut is not in balance, when the bad bacteria is overgrowing and taking over your intestines, which is 85% of your immune system. So weight gain is one of a big issue. And that's what we're going to kind of focus on. But that's not the only thing that gut issues cause.
Like the weight gain is like a symptom of the gut
being
problems.
out of balance. And, some other symptoms: eczema, asthma, autism, Alzheimer's, schizophrenia.
Is there a wind going on?
It's the energy. It's like
it's never like watching this thing move.
I'm telling you, we've got 3 powerful people in this room, so there's like
this may start happening in here with the guests that
it's
we bring.
Somebody's attractive over there. They're attracting the pictures. They must have heard the guitar comment earlier.
So y'all can't see. There's just stuff moving in the studio without us touching it.
These windows don't open. There's no breeze.
It's energy.
It's energy.
strong.
I've got the
sure.
vent blocked with Michael Jackson album covers, as you can see.
I love it.
Okay.
I want to hear more about this gut bacteria.
Wow. Yeah. And so here's the thing. I started taking supplements, when I was about 15, 16. My dad started teaching me about, nutrition and supplements. I used to, take this powder. I'm forgetting the name right now, but I had like 50 of my friends and family, members on it because it gave me so much energy. So I started taking supplements and powders, fruits, vegetable powders at a young age, but I still was dealing with health challenges. And after years of suffering and just like mind blown, like I eat like a rabbit and I still was like dealing with health challenges, like being overweight, and it's like my friends and family would be like, you should be a twig. For how you eat. You eat like a rabbit.
I live with Suzanne. I know what you eat.
Yeah. And I just have not been able to lose the weight. And so, it's like beautiful. I was introduced to Donna Gates' body ecology diet by a girlfriend of mine. And before another girlfriend of mine introduced me to the book, but I wasn't ready to receive the information. Right. So then another girlfriend came into my life and reintroduced me to this information. And it just was like,
it's the body ecology diet
by Donna Gates.
Okay. So
and
what is that?
Yeah. And she's been, talking about fermented foods and gut issues for almost 20 years. So this isn't a new conversation, but it is a new conversation to the masses. It's just now starting to get talked about. In Western medicine, they're taught that the gut is just this tube, right? You eat food, it goes down this tube, and then you poop it out. But they're finding out that's totally not the case. The case is that the gut has neurons. The gut produces chemicals and hormones. Yeah. Do you know that 95% of your serotonin is created in the gut and only 5% in the mind? So depression, anxiety. I used to have massive panic attacks, anxiety attacks, and now I'm starting to understand, wow, all of these health challenges have been because of a poor digestive system.
It's like you have a gut feeling.
Literally.
Oh, like I could just feel it when you don't feel good. You feel it in your gut. And
well, there's neurons in the gut. See, that's what people don't, another thing people don't realize. That's why I'm going to, talk about this a little bit here in a minute about stress and how stress plays a huge part in our gut health, because there's actual neurons in the gut that are connected to the heart. So, like when you're nervous, you can feel it in your gut. Like my stomach, I even texted someone before the show and was like, oh my God, my stomach's in knots right now. Because when you're nervous, your heart and your gut are connected, It's
I texted the same thing. I said my stomach is churning.
Yes. and that's why. So it's like we've got these neurons in our gut. And when we feel stressed or we feel frustration or any kind of disempowering emotion, our blood in our viscera, in our stomach area, rushes to our legs and our arms because our body is prepared to fight. It's got to prepare to fight to outrun the tiger. It's evolutionary biology. That's why it was created, fight or flight response. So thank God for it. But here's the issue. We're so bombarded with so much stress in today's society that we could be sitting in this chair and our body's perceiving a tiger chasing us. Well, wake up, world. There's no tiger, right? It's just 50 million emails coming at you at once, bombarded with info commercials, radio commercials, this commercial, that commercial, buy this, buy that, side effects of this prescription. I mean, it's just like, no wonder 70 million. I mean, there's got to be more than 70 million people in America that have digestion issues. I think that's like a very small number, but that is the statistic. Over 70 million people are dealing with digestion issues. So here's the thing. When the stomach goes to the arms and to the legs to outrun the tiger, when you eat, there is nothing to digest the food. There's no blood in the viscera to digest and assimilate the food properly. So guess what happens?
Indigestion.
The food sits there and ferments and rots and parasites and worms and, all these things. I hope people aren't eating if you're eating.
It's reality. It's like,
is.
wow.
And then here's another really cool thing that I learned is that the lining of the gut is 1 cell thick. Think about that. I mean, I don't know what 1 cell, like what that measures, but I listened to this on an interview with Donna Gates and this other doctor, and they said that the lining of the gut is 1 cell thick. So a lot of people are dealing not only with digestion issues, but leaky gut. And I've diagnosed myself with leaky gut just based on, symptoms that I've had and chronic fatigue and headaches. And, these are all symptoms of leaky gut and digestion issues, chronic fatigue, migraines, skin issues. The list goes on and on and on and on. Memory problems, concentration. My God, I'm like the queen of, concentration, like ADD. It's like, where'd she go? Where'd Suzanne go? And so, leaky gut, because the lining of the gut is so thin, these parasites will eat the lining of the gut, right? And then when you eat food, the food leaks out the gut, goes into your bloodstream, and then the immune system literally starts to attack your body. And then, of course, you get mycotoxin sores, which is acne. That's actually mycotoxins coming out of the skin because the skin's trying to push out the toxins, right? Eczema, that's a mycotoxin sore. This is fungus. This is, toxins trying to escape the body. So anyways, it's just like stress plays a huge issue in digestion. So, that's one thing that I've come to discover.
So
right?
Reducing stress would reduce weight.
Reducing stress, absolutely. Because when we reduce stress, number one, stress produces cortisol. Cortisol, causes that weight gain around the midsection, especially for women, because women aren't built to handle stress like men. Men from evolutionary biology are, the hunters. They got to go get the food. Oh, yeah, they got to
fight that. We got to fight that tiger.
We got to fight the tiger. Come back, feed the kids, feed the family, and the women were, be in the cave taking care of the babies. So men, by their biology, is to be able to endure more stress than women. So I guess my message to women is be easy on yourself. Take care of yourself. And men, take care of your women. Have a safe space. And so that's one thing. One thing, right? And so the gut healing challenge, I'm in the process of creating right now.
And you're actually doing it yourself.
Oh my gosh.
You've taken it on.
Yeah. Wow. You know what? You could actually go to the Facebook page right now, Gut Healing Challenge, and you can see my before and after pictures. Z, you saw me, before you left to Vipassana.
Yeah.
I had this inflamed gut. I got back from Disney World. And of course, I didn't pack anything. So I was eating this, crap food. I came back from Disney World and I took before and after pictures. And you can see day 1 of my protocol, my gut was pooched out. You could see the inflamed gut. I was 169 pounds. And now I weighed myself on Tuesday, which was day 14, and I'm 159.5 pounds.
And what have you been doing?
Absolutely. So this is how the Gut Healing Challenge got created, and I've created this protocol. So,
Suze, I just want to put a plug in because you said you just came about 2 weeks ago. I just want to acknowledge, you've been studying this stuff your whole life.
Yes.
I'm so impressed because this is like a accumulation. It's like a bringing together, everything you've been studying
years
for
of knowledge.
Years of knowledge, and it's so impressive now. And you're not only are offering this challenge, but you're doing it yourself, getting the results, and now sharing it with others.
Wow. Thank you for adding that, because absolutely this has been years of just frustration, research, trying to put all the pieces together. And it was like something clicked for me at Disney World. It was just like, it was like I just got it. It was like I got the download from the universal realms of consciousness. God laid upon my head here you go. And I was just in action. So what I started with in phase 1, this is going to be, a part of the protocol. Phase 1 is the 7-day jumpstart your health. So it's 7-day probiotic green smoothie detox. So this isn't just some juice detox. A big issue with juicing, although there's many benefits, a big issue is that you're juicing out all the fiber. And so it's like the juice immediately turns into glucose. And so it's like a freaking explosion of a sugar rush in the body. So if you've got a yeast condition or overgrowth of yeast, which 1 out of 3 people do, so that's a lot of people, it's going to exacerbate the issue, right? So a part of my protocol in the Gut Healing Challenge is the first 7 days is to jumpstart your health with the probiotic green smoothie. So what we do is we mix greens in a blender, don't take out any of the fiber, and then we infuse the green smoothie with live probiotics.
Oh.
So not only are you cleansing the gut, alkalinizing the blood with all of the greens. You've got the fiber that's cleaning up the intestines and pushing out all the fecal matter and all that garbage. And then you've got the probiotics that are proliferating the gut with that healthy bacteria, so you can start creating a balanced inner ecology and have, amazing, vibrant health. So that's the first 7 days.
So, okay. Wow. I just love how passionate you are when you say proliferating. Oh, God.
She's super committed.
She's super committed to your
right
gut healing. And Suze, it's so inspiring. So, okay. So if somebody wanted to get started with this, so they would have some green smoothie recipes. And is this all you would consume for 7 days?
Yeah.
Straight.
I suggest, here's my recommendation, and this is what I tell everybody. This is like my disclaimer as a coach. Listen to your own body. I may be your coach. I may be giving you the how-to, but at the end of the day, everybody's different. And I'm going to touch base on this here in a minute, that there is no one size fits all. I do not believe that. The latest research in epigenetics, which is being able to use food to turn off bad gene expression. And it's different for each blood type, for each body type, the individual genetic makeup. So there is no one size fits all. And that's what really frustrates me and why I get so passionate about this topic, is because there's so many flipping diets and there's so much confusion out in the world. Like, oh my God, what do I do? Do I do the beach body cleanse?
It's a big money-making thing for a lot of, and it goes back to ancient times, not just diet. The whole snake oil thing. If there's an ailment, people will seek to profit from the people that are ailing, whether or not they have an actual solution. So, we've got a diet industry that is addressing symptoms, and it's not like we don't all know a lot of the basics ourselves. But I really want to hear more about the gut thing, because it's not like I haven't done some research. When something's killing your loved ones and friends, you want to know more about it. And being overweight is a killer. And I have a question about probiotics, because do they always make you fart?
Well, it's so great. No, so great that you asked
Are
that.
they all the same? Because I did a tour of the probiotic
Beautiful.
scene, and oh my God, I had to lock myself up. I couldn't go out in public. It's like, don't go away. I had to hang a sign on my door telling people to stay away. I was going to become the Onceler and just live in a tower all by myself. Really.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing that you asked that. And thank you. Because you know what I say to that? I say beautiful. Because
Really?
that's a part of what they call the die-off process.
Okay.
So when your body goes into detox, the symptoms, the yeast start to die off. And it causes bloating and gas and belching and burping and farting and all of that. So I salute that. I celebrate that. I'm like,
I'm not a mutant, because boy, I could have powered a small city.
It's so great. One of my clients yesterday, he's on day 3, and he, called me and he's like, Suzanne, he's like, I'm like gassy. I'm like bloating. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, yay, that's die-off time, die-off symptoms.
So that's a process that you get past at some point.
Yeah, exactly. And so even though that is a symptom of having gut issues, is the actual gassing and bloating, your symptoms will enhance as you're healing. That's actually a good thing.
It's like you're detoxing through your butthole.
That's what it's there for.
That's what it's totally there for. It's a beautiful thing. So the first 7 days is the probiotic green smoothie detox. Just to really give the digestion a break. But also clean the colon and then get the probiotics in to really start, planting the good bacteria in the gut. And then phase 2, this is where it gets really cool, because like I said, based on epigenetics and this new research, there is no one size fits all. So what may be a superfood to you, Z, may be toxic for my body.
Well, we do have that. Avocado is awesome for me. Doesn't work for you.
Yeah, it actually, I have to limit it. And I got to tell you, I love me some avocado, especially in a green smoothie, because it gives it that creamy texture, So it's, I do partake in a little bit of it, but I limit it. So there's this newfound knowledge. There's, based on Dr. D'Adamo's work, for instance, Eat Right for Your Genotype, he talks about there's 6 different genotypes, right? And so phase 2 of the Gut Healing Challenge is to identify what your genotype is.
Your genotype,
exactly. And what's cool is it's not, it's, for sure, what foods are superfoods for you, what foods are toxic. But there's also really interesting personality traits identified with each of the genotypes, which are very accurate. And people come to me and they're like, wow, that was so right on. It's kind of like numerology, astrology a little bit.
Wow. How do you determine your genotype?
Yeah, so your genotype, Dr. D'Adamo, he has a blood test kit. So first of all, you want to find out what your blood type is. And he wrote the book, Eat Right for Your Blood Type, right? So his latest and greatest research is Eat Right for Your Genotype. So he took it a step further based on epigenetics and this, new science. It's not even new, but, it's like, again, to the masses. And then you basically measure your body. You measure your skull, you measure your torso, you measure your legs, your fingers, your teeth, secretors, how you taste, right? So all of these different factors play a part in identifying what your genotype is.
So do you identify just as one? Like, in Ayurveda, you there's the doshas, and you can be like a little bit of this one and a little bit of that one.
Yeah, and this is what's so cool. And Dr. D'Adamo talks about that this is even more precise.
Oh, so you are definitely
because you are
one.
definitely one. So with that, the doshas, you could be, 2, but with the genotype, you are definitely 1. So there doesn't leave any mystery to the mind. It's very, this is, your genotype. This is what foods are superfoods and foods to stay away from. And again, I take everything with a grain of salt. I always say, listen to your body, number 1.
Yes.
And
even that, I really appreciate you saying that.
Mm-hmm.
I think many people, it's like the missing link is what you're bringing, because if you are onto nutrition and health, you've tried many things, and you eat a certain way, but there are maybe some things in your diet that you think are healthy, but they may not be working for you. And clearly, we're all different.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's phase 2 is number 1, identifying what your genotype is, and then creating a shopping list, a grocery shopping list. So when you go to the grocery store, you know exactly what to get. I find so often if you don't know like what foods are good for you, we tend to buy garbage food. I mean, I'm guilty as charged. Before I had my shopping list and exactly had this protocol in place, I would go to the grocery store and I buy all sorts of stuff,
it's so
things
confusing.
that you think is healthy. I mean, how often do people go to Whole Foods thinking they're buying healthy food?
Yeah. Whole Foods is so overwhelming.
But it's loaded with sugar, and I was doing the Terra chips with hummus, and I was just carbon out, and and so anyways. Phase 2 of the Gut Healing Challenge is identifying your genotype, creating a shopping list such that you can go into the grocery store, you know exactly what you need to get, and then fermented foods. So Donna Gates in Body Ecology Diet, she talks about fermented foods. So what are fermented foods? Fermented foods are basically cultured vegetables. So you can get vegetables based on your genotype. So this is a part of the protocol, is like based on what vegetables are superfoods for you. You'll take those vegetables and you use live culture, which is live probiotics, and you mix the veggies in the live culture with some other ingredients in a mason jar, let it ferment for 7 days, and then you basically eat the fermented foods, like a couple teaspoons, with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And what happens is the fermented foods actually help break down the food that you're already eating. And then again, with the live probiotics in the food, you're proliferating, love that word, your gut with the healthy bacteria, thus creating a balanced inner ecosystem in the body, thus, rebuilding your immune system, thus reversing any symptoms you have of any disease and preventing disease.
So if you have leaky gut, does that get repaired? Can you repair the lining?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, science is now showing that you can repair the gut in as little as 7 days because it's so thin.
Oh, wow.
So
Suzanne, can you please repeat some of the symptoms of leaky gut?
Yeah, absolutely. So poor concentration, memory loss, anxiety, depression, eczema, asthma, chronic fatigue.
Sounds like a pot smoker.
Nobody I know.
You won't go there.
Wow, but yeah, those are definitely common things. And okay, and then is there like an appearance to it? Like, is there like a belly or a pot belly, like a wheat belly?
Oh, absolutely. It's inflammation, and you can feel it. Like up until I really started taking this on, like no kidding, taking this on, I would eat anything and immediately feel like crap. So and so now, like, being on this like regimen, like really hardcore for the last couple of weeks, man, like my tummy is feeling good. I've lost 9.5 pounds, anything that I'm like consuming, because it's all like probiotic rich foods that I'm eating, and I just feel like, oh my gosh, my gut is like healing. I feel good when I eat. There's no inflammation. There's no gassing. There's no bloating,
Wow.
And so these are results of being on the Gut Healing Challenge.
So I have a question about like eating meat and not eating meat. I know there are some genotypes that require people to eat meat.
Yes.
And I remember reading in a China study about how when you eat meat,
Yes.
it pretty much like rots in your intestines and creates
it's so
cancer
beautiful
cells.
that you say that. So this is what's so great about the fermented foods. This was like the missing link, for me, and so many people are, doctors and functional medicine doctors are raving about fermented foods. They're using fermented foods for medicinal use. And the reason is because you can eat the fermented foods with, let's say, a steak or chicken, and the fermented foods, the microorganisms break down the meat. So let's say for people that don't necessarily aren't able to digest the meat as well as maybe some other genotypes, this definitely helps with that.
So you hear that?
I heard it.
Fermented food with your steak and avocados with your beer.
Oh, okay.
All right.
That'll work.
Yeah, because like the fermented food will help heal the gut when you eat meat, and then the glutathione in the avocado will help your liver for the alcohol.
Lots of what do you call it? Cabbage and
is that what you ferment?
Sauerkraut.
Okay, so and here's the thing. So so Donna Gates, she kind of has like this approach to like, fermented foods. Anybody can use them, right? And I think to a certain degree, yes. In my protocol, I'm tailoring the fermented foods to your epigenetic makeup. So let's say cabbage is toxic on your list. We're not going to use cabbage.
So you combine the fermented food with the genotype.
With the genotype, which I don't know really anybody else out there that's doing that, and obviously I'm super committed, to having the best of all worlds. Yeah. And again, it's try things on. Try it on, see how it feels. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. If it feels great, keep doing it. That's what I say.
I think, just for me, I've gone through so many of the different, I'm going to say eating lifestyles. I don't like to say diets because it starts with DIE, which is death. I remember a few years ago hearing about the blood type stuff, and it just seemed like so overwhelming to me, just like another thing. Like now, okay, I'm eating raw, I'm eating organic, I'm eating this, and now I have to check my blood type, I feel like now I'm ready to hear it. Kind of like how you were like you had heard of it and now I'm ready to hear it. And it's like, and sometimes it requires like, a life tragedy or some kind of wake up call to have access to that stuff. But I see now how it's the missing link. It's the piece of the puzzle that was missing.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing that I'm super committed to is making it really simple for people. That's why I'm in the process of creating the Gut Healing Challenge protocol and to make it really simple for folks. And what I'm discovering for myself, Z, is the more that I'm getting clear on what foods are good for me and, making these probiotic green smoothies and the fermented foods it's so easy. Like I go to the farmer's market and I know exactly what I need, and as I'm buying the foods, I'm so excited because I'm like, yay, I'm healing my body. I'm like a doctor, I'm a doctor going to the farmer's market, and then like I'm a doctor in the kitchen making my smoothies. Like, it's such a cool feeling knowing that not only am I eating, I'm like, I know what's like a superfood for my body and it's healing my body at the same time. So there's nothing more exciting than that,
It is. It's like a change of perception. I remember being at Whole Foods and checking out at Whole Paychecks and checking out and it was like 100 something, 200. I'm like, geez. But I was like, you know what? This is my health insurance budget.
And let me share with you, I've actually saved a lot of money, doing this gut healing challenge. I would say that maybe I'm spending $10 a day in my food. And that's organic, non-GMO, right? And so
that's good.
And I'm losing weight. I feel great.
You look great. You're like vibrating.
Wow. Yeah, I was like checking myself out in the bathroom a little bit ago. I was like, damn, girl.
I know you look like somebody who's like, I'm like, damn. You do. You have that look of like, I am really proud of myself.
Yes, I am. And and that's one more thing I wanted to share about, it's like I used to go to the grocery store really disempowered. And now it's like, because I'm clear on my genotype, my genetic makeup, this protocol, what foods to avoid, what foods are superfoods, I go in empowered to the grocery store now. I spend less money because I'm clear of what I need and what I don't need. And I don't overbuy. I buy what I need for a day or two. And I buy it every day or every other day, fresh, right? So often we go to the grocery store and we buy for the entire week. Well, I hate to say it, but on this particular diet, you don't want to do that because you want as fresh as possible. You want to really, nourish your body. If you're someone, who really wants to take on this gut healing challenge, number one, go to this website. It's www.guthealingchallenge.com/5 as in the number 5 steps. STEPS. And this is a free report, 5 steps on how to lose your gut for good.
Wow, Suze.
And to jumpstart the process.
I just hear a lot of hope.
Yeah.
For a lot of people
Yes.
who are struggling, and I look around, and it's epidemic for sure. And the clarity that you bring, I'm just I'm thinking about somebody who may not be tapped in at all, like just buys canned goods and may not be eating much greens and fresh produce. To start there. And also I have a question about, a lot of people deal with like acid reflux.
Yes.
And take a lot of medication for that.
That's totally connected to this.
If you start this cleanse, what do you do about the medication that you're taking?
Yeah, it's just like anything else. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, so I would never in a million years say stop taking your medication. But what a lot of people find in any kind of health program typically is that they start weaning themselves off of their medication. So obviously don't just stop taking your medication, but I think you'll come to find as you're feeling better, as you're feeling healthier, as your gut's healing itself, you're not going to need it, and your body will tell you.
Yeah.
You'll start feeling better, acid reflux will start reversing, and you'll just be like, wow, I don't need my medication anymore.
I'd love to talk about that more. We don't have that much time today, but the conversation of listen to your body will tell you. Like, we say that a lot in the yoga world, and we're so tapped into that because we're constantly going in and feeling our bodies and listening to our bodies, but it's not something that is like common. It's not a common thing that people experience or are taught.
Yeah, and as this program is developing and growing, I see this being my life's work, at least for a long duration of time. And that's going to be a big part of the program is body image, how we relate to our body, because there's nothing wrong with being overweight or having any kind of dis-ease in the body. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. There's just a conversation in the mind to transform. And that's actually one of the things that I put as my my slogan is that this is not just about gut healing. This is also about transforming the mind and igniting the spirit.
Wow.
Because, it's like, I really believe it starts from in and goes out. And so for sure, like the gut is so important because once you start healing this gut, and you're producing serotonin, it just naturally activates this spirit within you, right? Which is made up of the mind and the heart and the cells and the chemicals, and it's all combined. The body is this beautiful, complex organism. And when it's functioning at an optimal height, I just feel like that's what ignites the spirit, is when the whole body's imbalanced and your mind is transformed and it's all working together. And so,
we could so feel it radiating out of you, Suzanne, right?
Make me want to have a healthy gut. I want a healthy gut.
Totally.
Where's my smoothie? Where do I sign up? I liked your Facebook page, and then I'm going to go on to the next step, which is the join, and I'm assuming that'll start some sort of a process.
Yes, absolutely. So that's the thing. When you go to the guthealingchallenge.com/5 steps, you're going to put in your email. That'll opt you into the email list. And then as, we're creating the protocol and, all the latest and greatest updates, you'll get access to that. So definitely go there, get your 5 steps to lose your gut for good, and stay in touch, stay in the conversation, because this, like I said, this is kind of a new conversation in the West. Yeah. The gut, we're just now scratching the surface on all this like amazing information about it. And so like, I'm just excited because it's like, wow, I'm like so lit up. I feel like I'm finally in alignment with my life's work.
You are. I feel it. I mean, it's, I thank you for the research that you've done and the work that you've done on yourself so that you can now share it with others. Like, this show is not my show. It's our show. Wow. It's like, it's the people's show. It's an opportunity for us to bring that information that hasn't been highlighted, that needs to be highlighted, from gut issues to women issues to men issues to society issues that really, really need to, like, we need to spotlight and we need to get out there. And, health and healing and the BS information that is out there about health.
Wow.
Is such
we're
it's
inundated.
Such a shame.
We're inundated, and that's
and it's like. It's extremely confusing. You have like the dairy industry saying got milk. You have, people saying eat high protein. You have people saying eat raw. And then, I'm a stand that this is something that, brings a lot of clarity to people. Mm-hmm. And, I'm so excited that you're doing this, Suze. And I would love to get on it. I'm interested in being a client too. And I think George, I'm
going to give it a shot because, I agree with it. I don't just agree with everything that I hear. As a matter of fact, I tend to be generally contrary with all of the snake oil that's out there being peddled, and a lot of it under the guise of new age and holistic, and people use that. They use the word organic. I mean, corporates aren't afraid to use the word organic. They don't care, and they're not afraid to label anything. And a lot of times, the thing that you're buying into that you think is something healthy and natural or something is just something else repackaged. So, but there's it's very sound what you're talking about, and and I've known people with a lot of intestinal issues, and I'm trying to avoid it in my life. People with diverticulitis and just, there's a host of things that can be wrong with your gut, and I don't think anybody spends enough time talking about it. Like none. I think usually we spend zero time talking about our intestines and our guts and what's going on there. It's usually like stomach, and then it just fast forwards to what happens after that. Nobody talks about the gut, but definitely you're right. There is a lot of bacteria and a lot of flora going on, and so I want to know more. And I'm going to start with the smoothie. And
absolutely, and thank you for saying that. And just for the listeners, a way to jumpstart this too, for sure, the green smoothies. And I'll be releasing an ebook for recipes and like a how-to guide, because it's like, wow, how do I even get started with all this, right? So all that's coming out soon. But what you could take on starting now, eliminate sugar.
Oh, yeah.
Sugar is the beast. 1 teaspoon suppresses your immune system for 9 hours.
What are some things that people eat that have sugar?
Oh, my God. Just read the ingredients. It's in everything. Even this raw organic sugar, cane sugar, please, all of that still produces fructose. And yeah, your brain needs some to function, absolutely, but not to the level in which we're eating it. It's in everything.
So
it's
get
in salad
present,
dressings.
be a detective and just
read the ingredients,
the
absolutely, but cut out as much sugar as possible. Alcohol is pure sugar, so limit your alcohol intake. Plants,
it's true.
Hang out in the plant kingdom, it's like,
keep it green,
you know, it's actually interesting. I do want to say this real quick. I did read an interview. I thought this was cool. There is a, what is it? A cannabinoid. It's in the cannabis plant. It's called CBD, and research is now showing that it's reducing inflammation in the gut.
Stock up.
So I have to eat it. I have to eat it now.
Stock up. Yeah, no, I had this idea of going to Colorado and growing and
Eat it, then eat it.
And then eat it. Absolutely. So anyways, cut out alcohol, gluten, big time. Got to cut out the gluten. 3 of the biggest toxic glutens are wheat, barley, and rye.
Okay.
Brown rice, on occasion, quinoa for sure. Absolutely.
Yes, quinoa, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely, quinoa.
Awesome. Well, Suzanne Livya Caudell, we love you so much.
Wow.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, sharing your spirit, sharing your light. You are such a bright light in the world.
Wow.
Yes. Thank you so much for being the first show on Z Nation on SoFloRadio.com. I am Z Love, a.k.a. Zayna de Gaia. I honor the light inside of you. Namaste. Blessings. Peace.
From high atop 1926 Hollywood Boulevard, you're listening to SoFloRadio.com.